Round one competition now continues with the micro machine. Bob Breen, the Breen Brothers racing team out of Eldon, Missouri. And he lines up against Don Van Loo, another Jefferson City, Missouri veteran in Bad Medicine. A couple of show-me state drivers here.
Well, you got a Chrysler-powered vehicle in Van Loo. You got a Chevrolet-powered micro machine. Both of them live about 20 miles from each other. Who you draw in the first round?
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, the micro machine picks up the victory in no man's land. That's where he got it. The horsepower in that flat section between the two sections of cars.
He had to pull it out in mid-range because Van Loo was running him hard. It's kind of interesting. You know what this guy does for a hobby when he's not driving monster trucks? Like some old Harley motorcycles. He gets out and rides around the Missouri mountains on them.
Well, that Harley rider takes the victory here, and he's standing by now with Army Armstrong.
Well, Bob Breen, you've been away from the driver's seat for a while, but it doesn't seem like you lost a thing.
No, I kept up with the sport pretty much, watching it on TV at home, and I always went out on the road with my brother a few times, didn't get to drive, and I watched him and worked on the truck, and just kept, you know, kind of kept practice like that, watching the other drivers, so I kind of see how if they was changing their techniques or anything, so I keep up with it. And then I could start driving again all here a while back, and I don't know, John said, well, why don't you start driving the race truck? He wanted to stay home and start booking some more shows. Here I am.
Well, I'm glad to hear that he stays home and watches us on TV when he's not racing.
Well, here is the Carolina Crusher with Gary Porter, and no one knows. They call him Colt Cobra in the snake bite.
460 cubic inch blower drive service engine in the snake bite. That's about all we know about this truck. On the far lane, Gary Porter, one of the nicest guys in the sport, but Porter left second in this race. Can he pull it back mid-range? Yes! Look at here, Gary.
Look at the horsepower. You can see the flash bulbs going off in the background. That was sheer horsepower because the reaction time went to snake bite.
Well, that was like an interior lineman. He got down and got after it at mid-track. Watch this. Snake bite definitely out there. Now Porter
lifts the front end, and he takes the victory, and Gary now is with Army Armstrong.
Gary, isn't it wonderful that there's a second half to a racetrack?
It sure is, because my alarm clock wasn't working that run, and I was sleeping bad at the line. And, you know, luckily, you know, I had enough power and, you know, big enough motor and everything to get me, you know, going between the two sets of cars. Other than that, snake bite would have beat me.
I'll tell you what, he laid a shot on you on the line. You're around, though. We'll watch you in that next round.
Okay, thank you.
That wraps up round one competition. We're coming back for the quarterfinals from Indianapolis, Indiana. An enthusiastic crowd on hand here at the Indiana State Fairgrounds as we are getting ready for quarterfinal action. Hi, Gary Lee along with Army Armstrong. Now we look at the pairings for round two. The Bigfoot Ford, Bigfoot 8, Andy Brass will go up against Steve Hess in Nightmare, the driver from Columbia City, Indiana. Also, a couple of new names on the circuit. Eldon Depew in Taurus, Nick Rossi back in his Outlaw. Also in round two competition, we'll have a pair of Chevrolets, the micro machine of Bob Breen, and the Carolina Crusher with Gary Porter. So the fast qualifier is Bigfoot, Andy Brass, and there is a look at Andy out of St. Louis, Missouri, the two-frame Ford Bigfoot 8, and he goes up against the Penda truck, the Nightmare of Steve Hess, Columbia City, Indiana.
Watch Hess's front wheel, Gary. He's rolling into, they're actually digging right there. There's about a 3-inch indentation in the track where they're actually digging holes. So right now what I'm saying is both of these trucks are setting down in a little valley. The first move is an up move. Boy, Brass.
Up. Speaking of up, look at the air and the hang time of Andy Brass and Bigfoot.
You know, Steve Hess is a player, man, and Brass just thumped him on the top end of this track. Look at the half-track lead that Foot has. Now, that's the difference in the new suspension on the left and the older suspension on the right there. Can't make it any clearer, Gary.
The newcomer, Eldon Depew in Taurus, survives first-round competition. He puts his neck brace on there. Out of Granite City, Illinois, the nephew of the truck owner, Jack Willman Sr., and here is Nick Rossi in the Outlaw.
You know, during the interview a minute ago, I noticed Rossi is very relaxed. He's the owner of the truck. He's actually having fun here, and he's not afraid of this kid. Look at here. Rossi's going after him.
And Rossi, well, wait a minute. That's almost a dead heat. Let's wait for the official word on that one.
Nick Rossi can still drive a monster truck. He just proved it right there. He drilled this kid on the line.
We drilled him on the line, but Eldon Depew comes back right here over that second set of cars. Look how close it is.
You got to call it. I can't.
I can't call it. Let's wait for the official word. Right there it is. Nick Rossi, the Outlaw, takes the victory. He's with Army.
Well, Nick Rossi and Bob Breen are showing us old monster truck drivers can still be good monster truck drivers. You look like a kid out there.
I'm ready. I'm psyched. I'm just ready to go.
You're having fun today, aren't you?
I'm having a blast.
Well, we'll see you in the next round. Good luck to you.
I'll be there.
Well, you can see the enthusiasm, the joy written all over his face as we take a look at Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher, the Big A Auto Parts Carolina Crusher. And he will face off against Micro Machine, and that is Bob Breen, the Breen Brothers Racing Machine.
You know, the track crew wants to thank you for letting the starter use your rubber gloves in order to line these guys up today.
Those are not my Simpson fire retardant gloves.
Boy,
this is going to be Gary Porter.
Yeah. He's for real. And right here, Gary, you're looking at the future of the sport. Here are two high-tech trucks. They make a good run. The ideal scenario is to get your suspension literally to land like a wet sponge to absorb the energy, isn't it?
Well, of course, the suspension system allows the truck to land and the driver get back on the throttle, get that power back to the ground. It was all Gary Porter, and he's standing by with Army Armstrong.
Gary, you could almost tell how you're going to leave the line that time. You were not going to be left at the gate this round.
No, you know, I got a new motor in it. I've changed the suspension some. The truck's, you know, working and handling totally different. You know, I hadn't got used to it yet. You know, I am winning the races, but I still need to be running a half a second faster than what I am if I'm going to win here today.
What are you basing that on?
Well, you know, my reaction time's a little bit slow today. My suspension, I'm getting a little bounce, you know, between the two sets of cars. And the motor, I'm not really turning the blower up like I was at one time, and I still have, you know, some minor motor adjustments to make.
We'll see you in the next round.
Okay, thank you.